Marcus Williams, 52, and his daughter Zoe, 16, stood in the marble lobby of the Grand Regency Hotel. The concierge's voice cut through the air. "I'm calling security. People like you don't belong here." The afternoon sun streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the polished stone floor. Marcus wore khakis and a navy polo shirt. Zoe clutched her prep school backpack, still in her uniform from debate team practice. Business travelers paused their conversations. Phone cameras emerged from pockets. The lobby's usual hum of expensive conversations died to whispers. "Sir, you need to leave," the concierge repeated, her voice carrying across the space like a slap. Zoe's cheeks burned red. She tugged her father's sleeve. "Dad, let's just go." Marcus remained perfectly still, his jaw set in a way Zoe had never seen before. Have you ever been judged by your appearance before anyone knew your story? What Marcus did next would change everything, not just for him, but for an entire industry. The digital clock above the reception desk read 4:47 p.m. Emma Rodriguez, the concierge, stood behind the mahogany counter like a fortress wall. Her burgundy blazer bore the hotel's golden crest. Her name tag gleamed under the chandelier's light. "I'm sorry, but I don't see any reservation under your name," she said, though her computer screen remained black. She hadn't touched a single key. "Could you please check the system?" Marcus asked, his voice steady. "The confirmation number is..." "Sir, I don't need to check anything." Emma's arms crossed over her chest. "This is a 5-star establishment. We have standards." A woman in a Chanel suit pulled out her phone. The camera's red recording light blinked to life. Within seconds, 3 other devices joined her. "Look, I understand there might be confusion," Marcus continued, "but my daughter and I have a reservation. We're expected." Emma's laugh was sharp enough to cut glass. "Expected? By whom exactly?" The elevator dinged. A young man in an expensive tracksuit stepped out, immediately pulling out his phone. "Oh snap, this is about to be good," he muttered, opening TikTok. "Drama at the Grand Regency, y'all." "Actually, I'm live streaming," he announced, to no one in particular. "This is wild." The viewer count on his screen climbed: 47, 156, 423 people watching in real time. Zoe shifted her weight from foot to foot. Her debate team medals clinked softly against her backpack. "Dad, maybe we should call Mom." "Everything's fine, sweetheart," Marcus said, but his right hand unconsciously moved to his jacket pocket, where his phone buzzed with an incoming call. Emma's voice rose an octave. "I'm going to need you both to leave immediately. You're disturbing our guests." "We are guests," Marcus replied. "No, you're not." Emma reached for the hotel phone. "Secure to the front desk, priority 1. The TikTok viewer count hit 1,247. Comments flooded the screen. "This is messed up. Call the manager." "Why won't they just check the system?" Marcus's phone buzzed again. The caller ID read Williams Holdings, boardroom. He glanced at the time, 4:51 p.m. The executive board meeting was scheduled for 5:00 p.m. sharp. "Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time to leave voluntarily," Emma said, her voice now projecting across the entire lobby. An elderly couple near the bar craned their necks. A businessman in a Tom Ford suit walked closer, pretending to check his watch. "This is ridiculous," a woman's voice called out. "Just check the reservation." "Ma'am, please don't interfere," Emma snapped back. "We handle our own security matters." The elevator opened again. 2 security guards emerged, one tall and lean, the other built like a linebacker. Both wore earpieces and moved with practiced efficiency. "These individuals are refusing to leave," Emma announced, pointing at Marcus and Zoe like they were evidence in a crime scene. The TikTok stream now showed 2,891 viewers. The comments section moved too fast to read. "This is 2024, not 1954. Someone call the news. That little girl looks scared." Marcus's phone buzzed a 3rd time. Same caller. He looked at Zoe, who was now gripping his arm tightly. "Dad, please," she whispered. "Everyone's staring." The security guards approached. The taller one spoke first. "Sir, we're going to need you to come with us." "I haven't done anything wrong," Marcus said. "You're trespassing." the second guard replied. "The hotel has asked you to leave. I'm a paying guest with a confirmed reservation." "No, you're not," Emma interjected. "I've checked our system thoroughly." The businessman in the Tom Ford suit pulled out his phone. "I'm recording this too. This is insane." Marcus remained calm, but his jaw tightened. Zoe's breathing quickened. "Sir, we can do this easy or hard," the first security guard said, his hand moving to his radio. The lobby had filled with spectators. Hotel guests, staff members, and curious onlookers formed a semicircle around the unfolding drama. Emma picked up the hotel phone again. "Yes, I need Chicago PD at the Grand Regency immediately. We have individuals refusing to leave the premises." The TikTok viewer count hit 5,672. The young man live streaming whispered into his phone, "Y'all, this is getting serious. They're calling the cops." Marcus's phone buzzed again. This time, he answered. "Mr. Williams, the board meeting is starting in 8 minutes. We're waiting for your approval on the diversity initiative proposal." Marcus looked at his daughter, then at the crowd, then at Emma Rodriguez, who was now speaking animatedly with the police dispatcher. "I'll be there," he said into the phone. "But there's been a change of plans." He hung up and checked his watch. 4:58 p.m. 2 minutes until everything changed. At 4:59 p.m., the Grand Regency's manager emerged from the elevator. Derek Thompson was a man who wore authority like an expensive cologne. Too much, and everyone noticed. His gray suit was perfectly tailored, his silver hair immaculately styled, and his smile as artificial as the lobby's fresh flowers. "What seems to be the problem here?" he asked, surveying the scene with the practiced eye of someone who'd handled many situations before. Emma Rodriguez straightened her posture. "Mr. Thompson, these individuals are claiming to have a reservation, but they're not in our system. They're refusing to leave." Thompson's eyes swept over Marcus and Zoe with the kind of assessment that takes in everything and judges it all. The khakis, the polo shirt, the 16-year-old girl in a school uniform, the growing crowd, the phones recording everything. "Sir," Thompson said, his voice carrying that particular tone of manufactured patience, "I'm going to need to see some identification." Marcus reached into his wallet, producing his driver's license. Thompson examined it with theatrical thoroughness, turning it over, holding it up to the light. "This appears to be legitimate," he said, as if surprised. "However, we've had issues with fake IDs recently. I'm going to need additional verification." The TikTok stream now showed 8,432 viewers. The comment section exploded. "This is straight-up discrimination. Where's the manager's manager? That man looks familiar." "What kind of additional verification?" Marcus asked. "Credit card, proof of income, reference from a current guest," Thompson rattled off. "Standard procedure for unusual situations." "Unusual how?" The question came from a woman in the crowd. She wore a business suit and carried herself with the confidence of someone used to being heard. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step back," Thompson replied. "This is hotel business. This is a public lobby," she shot back. "And this is public discrimination." The security guards moved closer to Marcus and Zoe. The first guard spoke into his radio. "We may need backup at the front desk." Marcus's phone buzzed. Text message. "Board meeting starting. Need your authorization for the Chicago Hotel Improvements budget. $47 million, 0 cents, pending your approval." He glanced at the message, then at his daughter. Zoe's eyes were wide with embarrassment and fear. Her classmates would see this, her teachers, her friends. "Dad, can we please just go?" she whispered. "In a moment, sweetheart," Marcus said softly. Thompson pulled out his own phone. "I'm calling the police to verify these individuals' identities. Better safe than sorry." The businessman in the Tom Ford suit stepped forward. "This is ridiculous. You're creating a scene over nothing." "Sir, I'm going to need you to move away from the situation," Thompson said. "I'm a guest here. I have every right to stand in this lobby. Not if you're interfering with hotel operations." The woman who'd spoken earlier raised her voice. "What operations? Harassing paying customers?" More phones came out. The TikTok viewer count hit 12,847. Someone had started a Twitter hashtag, Grand Regency Discrimination. P.S. Tell Harris. Emma Rodriguez leaned toward Thompson. Should I call additional security? Already did, Thompson replied. They're on their way. Marcus checked his watch. 5:02 p.m. The board meeting had started without him. His phone rang. Williams Holdings, boardroom, appeared on the screen again. I need to take this, Marcus said. Sir, you can take your call outside, Thompson replied. I'm not leaving until this is resolved. Then you're trespassing, and I'm within my rights to have you removed. The elevator opened. 2 more security guards emerged, followed by a Chicago police officer. The officer approached with the weary expression of someone who'd seen too many hotel lobby disputes. What's the situation here? Thompson stepped forward. Officer, these individuals are refusing to leave our property. They claim to have a reservation, but we have no record of them. Have you checked your system? The officer asked. Thoroughly, Emma interjected, multiple times. The officer looked at Marcus. Sir, do you have proof of your reservation? Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling through his emails. The confirmation should be here. Dad? Zoe whispered, tugging his sleeve. Everyone's watching. The TikTok stream now showed 15,623 viewers. The young man live streaming whispered, This is crazy. They called the cops on a father and daughter. Officer, the woman in the business suit called out, I've been watching this whole thing. They never actually checked their computer system. Ma'am, please don't interfere, Thompson said sharply. I'm not interfering. I'm observing discrimination. The officer held up his hand. Everyone, calm down. Sir, he said to Marcus, do you have a confirmation number? Marcus scrolled through his phone. It should be... He paused. The confirmation email was in his personal account, not his business account. Give me one moment. Sir, I don't have all day, the officer said. Thompson smiled. Officer, as you can see, they don't actually have a reservation. I'm going to need them removed from the premises. The crowd murmured. Some phones kept recording. The TikTok viewer count climbed toward 20,000. Marcus found the email. Here it is. Confirmation number GR4791XX. 2 nights, presidential suite. Emma Rodriguez typed the number into her computer. Her expression changed slightly. That's not a standard confirmation format. What do you mean? The officer asked. Our confirmations are usually different. This format is unusual. Thompson leaned over to look at the screen. This appears to be fabricated. Marcus's phone buzzed with another text. Mr. Williams, we need your decision on the hotel management changes. The Chicago property needs immediate attention. He looked at the message, then at his daughter's embarrassed face, then at the crowd of onlookers, then at Derek Thompson's smug expression. You know what? Marcus said quietly. You're right. The crowd fell silent. I don't have a standard guest reservation, Marcus continued. Thompson's smile widened. Then you need to leave, now. I don't have a guest reservation, Marcus repeated, reaching into his jacket pocket. I have something else entirely. He pulled out a business card. The officer stepped closer. Sir, what is that? Marcus held the card out to Thompson. This is who I am. Thompson took the card, glanced at it, and his face went completely white. The crowd pressed closer. The TikTok viewer count hit 23,891. Emma Rodriguez leaned over to read the card. Her mouth fell open. The officer frowned. What's going on? Marcus looked directly at Thompson. Would you like to read it out loud, Mr. Thompson? Thompson's hands were shaking. The business card fell from his fingers, landing on the marble floor. The woman in the business suit picked it up. She read it silently, then looked up at Marcus with wide eyes. Oh my God, she whispered. The TikTok chat exploded with questions. What does it say? Someone tell us what's on the card. This is insane. Marcus's phone rang again. This time, he answered it. Yes, I'm here. Start the meeting. We have a situation to discuss. The business card lay on the marble floor like a dropped bombshell. The woman in the business suit held it with trembling fingers, her eyes moving between the card and Marcus's face. Marcus Williams, she read aloud, her voice carrying across the now silent lobby. Chief Executive Officer, Williams Holdings. The silence stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Parent company, she continued, her voice growing stronger, of Grand Regency Hotels. The TikTok viewer count exploded past 30,000. The comments section became a blur of shock and disbelief. No way. This can't be real. The CEO owns the hotel? They just discriminated against their own boss? Derek Thompson's face cycled through several colors. White, red, green, and back to white. His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Emma Rodriguez backed away from the reception desk as if it had caught fire. That's not possible. Marcus stepped forward and picked up his business card. Officer, I think we can resolve this situation now. The police officer looked confused. Sir, can you explain what's happening? I own this hotel, Marcus said simply, along with 846 others across North America. The crowd erupted in whispers. Phones captured every angle. The businessman in the Tom Ford suit let out a low whistle. That's impossible, Thompson stammered. The owner is? White, Marcus asked quietly. The question hung in the air like smoke. Thompson's security guards looked at each other uncertainly. The police officer stepped back, reassessing the entire situation. Dad, Zoe whispered, you never told me you owned this hotel. Marcus looked down at his daughter. I own a lot of things, sweetheart. But I don't usually lead with that. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Sarah, it's Marcus. Can you conference in the Grand Regency Chicago management team? We have a situation that needs immediate attention. His phone buzzed with an incoming call. One moment, he said, then answered. Yes, I'm aware of the live stream. We'll address it shortly. The TikTok viewer count hit 45,000. The young man live streaming whispered into his phone. Yo, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. This dude owns the hotel they just kicked him out of. Thompson found his voice. Sir, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. Has there? Marcus asked. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my staff saw a black man and his daughter and decided we didn't belong here. That's not. We would never. You called the police on me for trying to check into my own hotel. The officer stepped forward. Sir, I think I need to understand what's happening here. Marcus pulled out his wallet and produced another card, this one platinum black with no visible number or letters. This is an American Express Centurion card. It requires a net worth of over $25 million, 0 cents to qualify. I've had it for 12 years. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. These are the quarterly reports for Williams Holdings. We own 847 hotels, 312 restaurants, and 156 retail properties across North America. The folder contained official documents with letterheads, signatures, and corporate seals. Our annual revenue last year was $2,300,000,000, 0 cents, Marcus continued. The Grand Regency Hotels division alone generated $387 million, 0 cents in profit. Thompson stared at the documents. I need to call corporate. I'm corporate, Marcus said. His phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID. Board of Directors, conference call. Excuse me, he said to the crowd. I need to take this. He answered the call on speaker. Marcus here. Marcus, we've seen the live stream, a woman's voice said. The board is watching it in real time. What's your assessment? I'm standing in the lobby of our Chicago property, Marcus replied. I was refused service based on my appearance. The staff called police because they didn't believe I belonged here. How many people are watching this? Marcus looked at the TikTok stream. The count now read 52,847 viewers. About 53,000 people, and growing. This is a public relations nightmare, another voice said. No, Marcus corrected. This is an opportunity. The crowd leaned in to hear the conversation. An opportunity for what? The first voice asked. Show that we take discrimination seriously, to prove that we're willing to make real changes, not just issue empty statements. Thompson stepped forward. Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We can work this out privately. Marcus looked at him. Mr. Thompson, how long have you been the manager of this property? 3 years, sir. And in those 3 years, how many black guests have you personally welcomed to this hotel? Thompson's mouth opened and closed. I don't keep track of demographics. How many black employees work in your front desk staff? We don't discriminate in our hiring practices. That's not what I asked. Emma Rodriguez had been standing frozen throughout the exchange. Now she stepped forward. Sir, I apologize. I made a mistake. What mistake was that, Ms. Rodriguez? I should have checked the system properly. You should have treated me like any other guest, Marcus corrected, but you didn't. You saw a black man and his daughter and decided we were a threat. The TikTok viewer count hit 61,000. The comments section was moving too fast to read. Zoe tugged on Marcus's sleeve. Dad, can we go upstairs now? Marcus looked at his daughter, really looked at her. Her embarrassment, her discomfort, the weight of being the center of a public spectacle. Actually, sweetheart, we're not staying here tonight. We're not, because I need to fix this place first. He turned to Thompson. Mr. Thompson, you're terminated, effective immediately. You can't do that, Thompson protested. I can, and I just did. Security will escort you out. Sir, please, I have a family. I made a mistake. Marcus looked at him steadily. So did I. I made the mistake of letting this hotel operate without proper oversight. The conference call was still active. Marcus, what's your next move? I'm calling an emergency board meeting. We need to discuss systemic changes across all properties. Marcus checked his watch. Now, can you have the executive team at headquarters in 30 minutes? Of course. Good. And make sure our legal team is present. We're going to need new policies. He hung up and looked at the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the disruption to your evening. This hotel will be undergoing immediate management changes. The officer stepped forward. Sir, do you need anything from me? No, officer. Thank you for your professionalism. As the officer left, Marcus turned to the crowd. I want to thank everyone who witnessed this. Your presence here, your recording, your voices, they matter. The woman in the business suit stepped forward. What you're doing is important. This happens more often than people realize. That's exactly why we need to change it, Marcus replied. He looked at the TikTok stream, which now showed 73,000 viewers. If you're watching this online, I want you to know that this isn't just about one hotel or one incident. This is about creating spaces where everyone feels welcome. Emma Rodriguez stood uncertainly behind the reception desk. Sir, what about me? Marcus looked at her. Miss Rodriguez, you have a choice. You can learn from this experience and become part of the solution, or you can continue to be part of the problem. I want to learn, she said quickly. Then you'll attend our new diversity training program. All of our staff will. He turned to address the crowd and the live stream. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with moments like this. Moments when we decide that discrimination has no place in our businesses, our communities, or our lives. The TikTok viewer count hit 80,000. Marcus put his arm around Zoe. Come on, sweetheart. We have work to do. Where are we going, Dad? To the office. We're going to make sure this never happens to anyone else. As they walked toward the elevator, the crowd began to disperse. The live stream continued. The phones kept recording. And somewhere in a corporate boardroom, 12 executives prepared for the most important meeting of their careers. The Williams Holdings boardroom occupied the entire 47th floor of the Chicago Financial District's newest skyscraper. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city. But tonight, all eyes were focused on the conference table's centerpiece. A massive 85-inch monitor displaying the TikTok live stream that had now reached 127,000 viewers. Marcus Williams sat at the head of the table, still wearing his khakis and polo shirt. Zoe sat beside him, her school backpack resting against her chair. She'd never been in a boardroom before, but she sat with the quiet dignity of someone who'd just learned that her father owned a small empire. 12 board members filled the remaining seats. Corporate lawyers flanked the table with laptops open, legal documents spread across the polished surface. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Let's begin, Marcus said, his voice carrying the weight of authority that had been invisible in the hotel lobby. Sarah, can you bring up the incident report? Sarah Chen, the chief operating officer, clicked her laptop. The live stream video appeared on the main screen, showing the hotel lobby confrontation from 30 minutes earlier. As you can see, Marcus continued, we have a problem, a systemic problem. Board member Robert Hayes, a silver-haired veteran of the hospitality industry, leaned forward. Marcus, this is unfortunate, but it's an isolated incident. One bad manager doesn't represent our entire company. Is it isolated? Marcus asked. He nodded to Sarah, who pulled up another screen. These are discrimination complaints filed against Grand Regency hotels in the past 18 months, Sarah announced. 47 formal complaints. Average settlement cost, $500,000, 0 cents per case. The room fell silent. That's $23,500,000, 0 cents in settlements, Marcus said, plus legal fees, bad publicity, and immeasurable damage to our reputation. Board member Janet Morrison, who oversaw human resources, spoke up. Our legal team has handled these cases discreetly. Most never made it to court. Discreetly, Marcus repeated. We've been quietly paying people to keep quiet about discrimination in our hotels. It's standard practice, Morrison defended. Every major hotel chain deals with similar issues. And that makes it acceptable? The live stream continued playing on the screen. The viewer count had reached 134,000. The financial impact is clear, Marcus continued. But let's talk about the human impact. Zoe, would you like to tell the board how you felt today? Zoe looked around the room at the faces of adults who controlled billions of dollars in assets. She spoke quietly but clearly. I felt ashamed, not because we did anything wrong, but because people treated us like we were criminals. How many of you have teenagers? Marcus asked. 6 hands went up. How would you feel if your child experienced what Zoe did today? Board member David Kim, who had 2 daughters, shifted uncomfortably. I'd be furious. Exactly, Marcus said, and that fury would be justified. But here's the thing, my fury has a platform. I can do something about it. He stood up and walked to the windows overlooking the city. We have 847 hotels. We employ 67,000 people. We serve millions of customers every year. We have the power to change how an entire industry operates. What are you proposing? Asked board member Elena Rodriguez. Marcus turned back to the table. Complete overhaul of our diversity and inclusion policies. Starting immediately. Sarah pulled up another presentation. We've prepared a comprehensive reform package. The first slide read, Project Equality, a $50 million, 0 cents investment in change. $50 million, Hayes exclaimed. That's our entire marketing budget for the next fiscal year. And it'll be the best money we've ever spent, Marcus replied. Here's what we're proposing. Sarah clicked to the next slide. Mandatory unconscious bias training for all employees, from housekeeping to executive management. Cost, $12 million, 0 cents annually. Training is just the beginning, Marcus continued. We're implementing an AI monitoring system that analyzes customer service interactions for discriminatory language or behavior. Cost, $8 million, 0 cents for development and implementation. The board members exchanged glances. This was more comprehensive than any diversity initiative in the hospitality industry. We're also restructuring our hiring practices, Sarah continued. Diverse interview panels, bias-free recruitment algorithms, and partnerships with historically black colleges and universities. Cost, $5 million, 0 cents annually. The customer service protocols are being completely rewritten, Marcus added. Cultural competency requirements for all guest-facing staff. Anonymous reporting systems for discrimination incidents. Regular third-party audits of all properties. Board member Thomas Wright, who oversaw financial operations, pulled up a calculator. Marcus, these numbers are staggering. We're talking about a 15% reduction in profit margins. In the short term, Marcus agreed. But consider the long-term costs of maintaining the status quo. Sarah clicked to a new slide. Current discrimination costs versus prevention investment. We're currently spending $23,500,000 0 cents annually on discrimination settlements. Our legal fees add another $8 million 0 cents. Bad publicity costs us approximately $15 million 0 cents in lost bookings. That's $46,500,000 0 cents per year in reactive costs. Our proactive investment of $50 million 0 cents creates a sustainable system that eliminates most discrimination incidents, Marcus continued. Within 3 years, we'll save money while building a reputation as the most inclusive hotel chain in North America. The TikTok live stream, still playing on the screen, showed the viewer count approaching 150,000. Speaking of reputation, Morrison said, this live stream is a public relations nightmare. We need to control the narrative. No, Marcus said firmly. We don't control the narrative. We change the reality. He pulled out his phone and opened Twitter. Look at what's happening online. Grand Regency discrimination is trending. But look at the responses. He read from his phone. Finally, a CEO who actually does something about racism. This is how real change happens. I'm booking my next stay at Grand Regency because of this response. People aren't just watching this incident, Marcus explained. They're watching how we respond to it, and our response will define our company for the next decade. Board member Hayes leaned back in his chair. Marcus, I understand the sentiment, but $50 million, 0 cents, is a massive investment based on one incident. It's not one incident, Marcus replied. It's 47 incidents in 18 months. It's decades of systemic bias in the hospitality industry. It's the experience that millions of Black Americans have every time they travel. He looked around the table at each board member. And it's an opportunity to be the industry leader in something that matters. Zoe spoke up from her chair. Can I say something? The room turned to her. I'm 16 years old, she said. I've never experienced anything like what happened today. But I realize now that my dad has probably experienced it many times, and he never told me. She looked at Marcus. Is that true, Dad? Marcus nodded. More times than I can count. Then this isn't just about business, Zoe continued. This is about making sure other kids don't have to go through what I went through today. The room was silent. Board member Kim spoke first. How quickly can we implement these changes? Phase 1 starts tomorrow, Sarah replied. Emergency diversity training for all management staff. New customer service protocols go into effect Monday. The AI monitoring system will be operational within 60 days, Marcus added. Full implementation across all properties within 6 months. And the cost? Wright asked. The cost of doing nothing is higher than the cost of doing something, Marcus replied, both financially and morally. He looked at the live stream, which now showed 162,000 viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a choice. We can be the company that quietly settles discrimination lawsuits, or we can be the company that eliminates discrimination entirely. All in favor of Project Equality? Marcus asked. 12 hands went up. Motion carried, Marcus said. Sarah, please prepare the implementation timeline. We have work to do. As the board members filed out, Marcus remained seated with Zoe. Dad, are you really going to spend $50 million because of what happened today? Marcus looked at his daughter. No, sweetheart. I'm going to spend $50 million because of what should happen tomorrow. 6 months later, Derek Thompson sat in his studio apartment, scrolling through job listings on his laptop. The hospitality management, Chicago's search returned the same results as yesterday. 0 opportunities. His termination from Grand Regency had become industry legend, shared in whispered conversations and online forums. Emma Rodriguez had made a different choice. She sat in the same Grand Regency lobby where everything had changed, but now she wore a different expression. Her name tag read Guest Relations Manager instead of Concierge, and she'd completed 127 hours of diversity training. Welcome to Grand Regency, she said to an elderly Black couple approaching the desk. How may I help you today? The transformation was visible everywhere. The hotel's staff now reflected the city's diversity. The training materials were prominently displayed. A digital monitor in the lobby showed the hotel's commitment to inclusion, updated daily with guest feedback scores. Marcus Williams stood in the same lobby, wearing a suit this time, speaking with a reporter from the Chicago Tribune. The interview was part of a feature story about corporate responsibility in the hospitality industry. The changes weren't just about policies, Marcus explained. They were about culture. You can't mandate respect, but you can create systems that make discrimination impossible to hide. The AI monitoring system had flagged 847 potential bias incidents across all properties in its first 6 months of operation. Each incident was reviewed, addressed, and used for additional training. The system's accuracy rate was 94%. Employee satisfaction scores have increased 23% across all properties, Marcus continued. Guest satisfaction is up 18%, and our discrimination complaints have dropped 89%. The reporter scribbled notes. What about the financial impact? Revenue's up 12% year over year. Turns out, when you create welcoming environments, more people want to stay with you. The legal settlements had virtually disappeared. The $23,500,000 0 annual cost of discrimination lawsuits had been reduced to $2,100,000 0, a 91% decrease. Other hotel chains had taken notice. Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt had all implemented similar diversity initiatives. The Williams Holdings model was being studied at business schools across the country. Has anything surprised you about this process? The reporter asked. Marcus smiled. The resistance was less than expected. Most employees wanted to do the right thing. They just needed clear guidelines and proper training. Zoe, now 17, had become an advocate for youth voices in corporate social responsibility. She'd spoken at 3 universities about her experience and its aftermath. The most important change, Marcus told the reporter, is that we proved systemic change is possible. It requires commitment, resources, and accountability, but it can be done. The Grand Regency Chicago had become a case study in rapid organizational transformation. The hotel's Yelp reviews told the story. Finally, a hotel that treats everyone with respect. Staff is incredibly welcoming. You can feel the positive energy when you walk in. Emma Rodriguez had been promoted twice since the incident. Her new role involved training staff at other properties. She'd become one of the company's most effective diversity advocates. The hardest part, she admitted to Marcus during a staff meeting, was admitting I had biases I didn't even know existed. That's where real change starts, Marcus replied. The third-party audits had become a model for the industry. Independent evaluators assessed each property quarterly, measuring everything from staff diversity to customer service equity. The results were published publicly, creating transparency that had never existed before. Thompson's story had spread through professional networks as a cautionary tale. His LinkedIn profile remained unchanged for months. Experienced hospitality manager seeking new opportunities. The opportunities never came. Marcus had made it clear during industry conferences that discrimination would have consequences. Not just legal settlements, but career consequences. Professional consequences, public consequences. We're not just changing our company, he told the Tribune reporter. We're changing an entire industry's expectations. The changes had cost exactly $47,300,000 0 in the first year. The return on investment was already evident. Increased revenue, reduced legal costs, enhanced reputation, and industry leadership in social responsibility. But the real measure of success wasn't financial. It was the email Marcus received from a young black woman who'd stayed at the Grand Regency Atlanta. Thank you for making me feel welcome. I've never felt so comfortable in a hotel before. It was the comment from a Latino family on the Grand Regency Denver's Facebook page. Your staff treated us like family. It was the moment when change became normal, when inclusion became standard, when doing the right thing became just the way business was done. 2 years after the incident, Marcus Williams stood before the National Association of Hotel Executives, delivering the keynote address at their annual convention. The audience of 2,300 hospitality professionals represented every major hotel chain in North America. Real-life stories like these remind us that change is possible, Marcus began, but only when we're willing to confront uncomfortable truths about our industry. The Williams Holdings transformation had become legendary. Harvard Business School taught it as a case study. The Society for Human Resource Management used it as a best practice example. 3 documentaries had been made about the company's diversity initiatives. Black stories matter in business, Marcus continued. Not because they're touching stories, but because they're American stories. They're human stories. And they're stories that can change everything. Zoe, now 19 and studying business at Northwestern University, had written her senior thesis on corporate social responsibility. Her paper, From Discrimination to Transformation, a case study in systemic change, had won the university's prize for undergraduate research. The TikTok video of the original incident had been viewed 47 million times. It had spawned hundreds of response videos, academic papers, and corporate training programs. The young man who'd live-streamed the incident had become a social justice advocate with 2.3 million followers. Emma Rodriguez now ran the Williams Holdings Diversity Training Institute, traveling to properties across North America to share her story and teach others. She'd become one of the most requested speakers on bias awareness in the hospitality industry. Life stories have power, Marcus concluded his keynote address. They have the power to reveal truth, inspire change, and create movements. The question is, what will you do with that power? The Grand Regency Hotels had become the most inclusive hotel chain in North America. Guest satisfaction scores were the highest in the industry. Employee retention rates had improved 34%. The company had won 17 diversity awards. But Marcus knew the real victory wasn't in the awards or the financial success. It was in the thousands of guests who now felt welcome, the employees who worked with dignity, and the industry that had been forced to confront its biases. These are the real-life stories that matter, he said to the audience. Stories that prove change is possible, one person at a time, one incident at a time, one company at a time. The standing ovation lasted 7 minutes. Change had become the new normal. Now it's your turn. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace or community? Share your story in the comments below. Together, we can create the change we want to see. Don't let this story end here. Share it with someone who needs to see that change is possible. Subscribe for more stories of courage, transformation, and the power of standing up for what's right. Because real change starts with real stories. And real stories start with people willing to tell them.